On a quiet February afternoon in 1960, four college freshmen walked into a lunch counter and sat down. They simply asked for service. That simple act of sitting at a place labeled whites only would ripple across a nation. It would energize a movement and challenge an entire system of racial segregation. This week in history, Feb 1, 1960, we go back to Greensboro, North Carolina. It was the moment that helped reshape the American Civil Rights Movement. What was segregation? To understand why a sit-in mattered, you need to understand what it challenged. In the United States in the 1950s and early 1960s, especially in the South, racial segregation was a legal and everyday reality. Black Americans were forced to use separate schools, buses, restaurants, restrooms, even water fountains. These were under laws known as Jim Crow. These rules weren't just policy. They lived in every interaction, every public space. Despite the 1954 Brown Bears Board of Education ruling that school segregation was unconstitutional, segregation in public accommodations often continued. This set the stage for a new tactic in the civil rights struggle, one that didn't rely on laws, but on presence. February 1st, 1960, the sit-in begins. On February 1st, 1960, at 4:30 p.m., four black students from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University entered F.W. Woolworth store in downtown Greensboro. They purchased small items from the store's segregated section without issue, then walked to the whites-only lunch counter. They politely asked for coffee, and they were refused service. "We don't serve Negroes here," the waitress said. But instead of leaving, the four sat quietly, waiting for service that would never come. They stayed until the store closed. This simple act was not a stunt. It was a deliberate, peaceful challenge, and it marked the beginning of a powerful wave of protest. Why this mattered, what made this sit-in historic, wasn't just the act itself. Most sit-ins before had occurred, but the reaction it sparked. On the second day, more students joined them. By the fourth day, hundreds were participating. Word spread quickly through newspapers and television. Other students across the South copied the tactic. The sit-ins didn't just stay in Greensboro. They spread to Winston-Salem, Durham, Charlotte, Richmond, and over 55 cities in 13 states within a few months. Suddenly, a lunchtime protest was reshaping national consciousness. Nonviolence as strategy. The Greensboro protest was peaceful by design. Like Rosa Parks's bus protest years earlier, it relied on nonviolent resistance, refusing to leave, refusing to react, refusing to become violent regardless of provocation. Students carried books, studied at the counters, and continued their protest with dignity. They faced harassment, slurs, hecklers, yet remained calm and disciplined. That restraint, in the face of open hostility, made national news and drew sympathy and support nationwide. This was not just a lunch counter fight. It was a profound challenge to a system built on exclusion. The movement grows. The sit-ins quickly became a movement. By March 1960, thousands of students participated in sit-ins across the South, pressuring stores to end segregation. Businesses felt economic impact, boycotts gained traction, and public opinion began to shift. The sit-ins also helped spawn the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, an organization that would become central to the broader civil rights movement. And though Woolworth's leadership initially resisted change, by July 25, 1960, sales losses pushed the company to desegregate its Greensboro lunch counter, a symbolic and strategic victory. Legacy and impact. The Greensboro Sit-Ins were not the end of segregation. Far from it. But they did prove that ordinary young people could shift public policy through discipline, courage, and unity. They changed how Americans saw movement activism and helped build momentum for later victories like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed segregation in public places, voting rights protections, and further social justice reforms. The courage shown at that lunch counter still echoes today in civil rights and equality movements around the world. It reminds us that standing or sitting for justice does matter. If this story opened your eyes, please like the video, comment which moment surprised you most, and subscribe for weekly deep dives into the moments that shaped our world. History isn't just facts, it's the